guys, myself Dr. M. Sai Kishore, Senior Resident in Department of General Medicine, Sree Balaji Medical College. Uh, I have experience of 3 years in teaching, and I am a member of IMA with 2 articles credited to me. Today I am here to discuss about one of the global burden of diseases, tuberculosis. So here our objectives will be about the identification of the patients and proper treatment. When you come to introduction, tuberculosis is a chronic granulomatous infectious disease caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex. Primarily affects the lung, pulmonary TB, but can involve any organ like extrapulmonary TB. Airborne transmission is highly infectious. TB is both a major public health problem and a curable disease with a timely diagnosis and treatment. India carries the highest global burden of TB. When you come to epidemiology, according to WHO 2024, 10.6 million new cases were reported annually, out of which 1.3 million were deaths among HIV negative individuals, which India carries about 27% of the global TB cases as of WHO 2024. There are some high risk patients who are more prone for TB infection. Those are HIV individuals, malnourished, diabetic, smokers, alcoholic, close contacts of active TB patients. Transmission, inhalation of droplet nuclei from a person with active pulmonary TB can cause this TB can cause the transmission of TB. Incubation period is typically 2 to 12 weeks. When you come to microbial pathogenesis, causative organism is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which is an acid-fast bacillus, slow growing and aerobic. Infection occurs via inhalation of droplet nuclei, which in turn activates alveolar hemorrhages or alveolar macrophage. Primary infection often contained by host immunity, forming an gone focus, where the patient, some of the patient may be having latent TB, where bacteria persist in dormant stage, and some of them they may have reactivation TB occurs due to immunocompromise. And granuloma formation is a hallmark in TB, where you see central caseous necrosis. When you come to immunology and risk factors, effective control requires intact cell mediated immunity, that is Th1 response. TNF alpha and interferon gamma are also crucial for containment. Risk factors for progression are HIV infections are at greater risk, diabetes mellitus, CKD, malignancy, steroid use, malnutrition, smoking, alcoholism are the risk factors for progression for TB. Latent TB can progress to active TB in 5 to 10% over the lifetime. Clinical features, when you come to pulmonary TB, there are constitutional symptoms. The patient usually present with low-grade fever, that of evening rise, night sweats, weight loss, anorexia. Respiratory symptoms, persistent cough of greater than 2 weeks, sputum production, hemoptysis, chest pain, dyspnea of late when patient has been prolongedly suffering from respiratory symptoms. Physical findings, at the early it may be minimal findings, but on auscultation you will be seeing crepitations, bronchial breath sounds, signs of cavity in advanced diseases. When you come to extrapulmonary TB, it is seen around in 20% cases, more common in HIV cases. So extrapulmonary TB, most common sites involving lymph nodes, mostly cervical, which we call as scrofula, or pleura causing TB pleuritis, involving bones and joint, especially the spine, where we label them as spot spine, and involving genitourinary tract, as well as CNS, where patient may be having tuberculosis meningitis, where patient can have TB in the abdominal TB, as well as affecting the heart in the pericardium, as well as miliary TB. But here symptoms depends upon the site of involvement, but constitutional symptoms remain constant for pulmonary as well as extrapulmonary TB, which are fever, weight loss, night sweats, and anorexia. When you come to complications, pulmonary complications are most severe, where we patient may be having massive hemoptysis. After post-sequelae, patient may having bronchiectasis, secondary infections, aspergilloma, which in turn can all these complications can result in respiratory failure. When you come to systemic, it can be TB, meningitis, or miliary dissemination. So when structural lung damage that we are going to see in a patient with tuberculosis are fibrosis, cavitations, chronic hypoxia. When you come to drug resistance, MDR drug resistance, where the resistance of drug to isoniazid rifampicin has seen. When the XDR, there has been resistance to isoniazid rifampicin and fluoroquinolones, we label them as XDR. Diagnosis on an overview, High index of suspicion in patient with high index of suspicion should be there in a patient with chronic cough, fever, and weight loss. Mycological confirmation is a gold standard. Test that we do a sputum smear where Jedden staining is done, which is gel Nelson staining for acid fast bacilli, and CBNAT, which is gene expert, where we can detect Mycobacterium tuberculosis as well as rifampicin drug resistance within a short span of 2 hours. Culture, which is a gold standard for diagnosis as well as drug sensitivity, and for latent TB, we will be doing IGRA to identify the patient suffering from latent TB. In normal chest X-ray, you can see the cavitated lesions, consolidation, or nodular shadows. Same goes for the HRCT. For diagnosis in extrapulmonary TB, when the TB has been infected in the abdomen, and when there is an ascitic fluid, you can send the ascitic fluid therapeutically for diagnostically for acid for staining, CBNAT, and culture. When it's involving the pleural fluid, when you send for analysis, it will come back as exudative lymphocyte predominant with ADA greater than 40 units per liter. For lymph node, you can go for lymph node biopsy or FNIC, where you will be histologically you will be seeing granuloma, necrosis, or acid fast bacilli. When a patient has been suffering, when the patient TB extrapulmonary has been affecting the CNS, patient will be having of TB meningitis, where you will be doing an analysis of CSF analysis, where there will be lymphocyte pleocytosis, increased protein, decreased glucose, and ADA elevated. Radiological support with USG, CT, MRI can be used as per requirement. When you come to management, our main principal goal is to cure the patient and relieve the symptoms, prevent transmission, prevent emergence of drug resistance. So we have adopted to a strategy known as DOT strategy, where directly observed treatment short course, where the patient will be taking a treatment in front of at the particular centers. Early initiation and adherence are crucial. Nutritional support and management of comorbidities are at most important. When you come to pharmacotherapy, the first line of drugs that we usually use in our anti-tuberculosis treatment are isoniazid, rifampicin, pyrazimide, ethambutol, streptomycin, rarely used in first line currently. Mechanism, mostly these are of bactericidal, they will be sterilizing and relapse prevention roles. Duration is minimum of 6 months for drug sensitivity, where 2 months are of incubation period, 4 of continuous phase. When you come to treatment regimen, as for National TB Eradication Program 2025, drug sensitive TB patients usually have 2 phases. One has intensive phase for 2 months, and second is of continuation phase for 4 months. So intensive phase 2 months, patient will be giving patient isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol, pyrazimide for about 2 months, and after in continuation phase for about 4 months, we will be giving isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol daily, total of 6 months. When you come to pediatric regimen, similar drugs same drugs are being used in pediatrics, but they are of weight based dosing. Drug resistant TB, longer regimen has to be used around 9 to 18 months using second line drugs like levofloxacin, moxifloxacin, linezolid, clofazimine, bedaquinolone, delamanide, as per drug sensitivity test. When monitoring and follow-up, clinical monitoring, you should be seeing about the symptoms resolution and weight gain. For bacteriological monitoring, you will do a sputum smear CVNAT at the end of incubation period or continuation phase. Incubation phase or continuation. Drug toxicity monitoring, you will be seeing for liver function test, as most of the drugs can injure the liver itself, and some can involve the other parts, like ethambutol can interfere with your vision, and isoniazid usually presents with peripheral neuropathy, where patient complains of tingling, numbness over the lower limbs or upper limbs. When if needed, we can check for renal function test. Once and what most important is whether patient has been adherent to treatment or not. You have to observe. It can be done by DOT provider or digital adherence tools. And another thing most important are nutritional support, where the patient nutrition has been maintained or not can be checked. When you come to special situations where TB patient has been infected with HIV, here we have to start anti-tuberculosis drug first. After that, ART should be started within 2 to 8 weeks of starting ATT drugs. For opportunistic infection, you can give cotrimoxazole as prophylaxis. And for pregnancy, all the first line drugs can be used except streptomycin. For latent TB infection, you can give isoniazid for 6 to 9 months or isoniazid plus rifampicin weekly for 12 weeks. And for MDR, XDR should be managed in the centers where the drug sensitivity tests are available, and according to the drug sensitivity, proper regimens has to be maintained. And for prevention and control, BCG vaccination at birth usually prevents severe childhood TB, for example, miliary meningitis. Early diagnosis and prompt treatment of active cases plays a huge role. Infection control in hospital and household also plays an active role in prevention and control of TB. Contact tracing and prophylaxis for high-risk contacts has also shown some results in prevention. TB elimination program aims to eliminate TB by 2025 in India. Complications of drugs. Isoniazid, as I told you previously, usually shows adverse effects of peripheral neuropathy and hepatitis. Rifampicin, it shows hepatitis, orange color urine, and drug interaction. Pyrazimide, it connotes hepatotoxicity as well as hyperuricemia. Ethambutol, optic neuritis, so we have to check the vision to see whether the patient has been affected with the optic neuritis or not. Streptomycin, it can cause ototoxicity and nephrotoxicity. So regular monitoring helps in early detection of these complications that are associated with drugs. Prognosis, with appropriate treatment, the cure rate is greater than 85% in a drug-sensitive patient. So poor outcome is usually seen in drug-resistant, disseminated or immunocompromised patients. Relapse possible with poor adherence or inadequate therapy. So we have to make the patient adhere to that therapy so that relapse is not occurring. Early diagnosis and complete therapy when there is an early diagnosis and complete therapy, we have observed the best outcomes in a patients. Key point and summary of this is TB remains as a major global health challenge. Early diagnosis, microbiological confirmation, effective treatment are crucial. DOTS or NTP strategy ensures high cure rates and reduced transmissions. Addressing drug resistance, HIV co-infections, social determinants is key to elimination of TB. BCG vaccination and contact tracing has proven to be preventive backbone for TB. Thank you. With this, I complete my session over the tuberculosis. In the next session, I will be coming back to you with some interesting topic. Thank you.